Welcome to the Saskatchewan Real Estate Podcast, where we interview experts in Saskatchewan real estate. I'm your host, Ron Quaroni. Saskatoon Realtor Kevin Goyer joins me this week to chat about the Saskatoon market. Make sure to watch till the end because Kevin has a great tip for buyers on what they should do to stay competitive on multiple offer houses. Hope you enjoy.
You're listening to the Saskatchewan Real Estate Podcast, where we chat with real estate experts from across the province to learn what's happening in the real estate market. Here's your host, Ron Quaroni.
Welcome, everyone, to another edition of the Saskatchewan Real Estate Podcast. We're joined here today by Saskatoon Realtor Kevin Goyer. Kevin, first of all, welcome to the program. Tell us a little bit about yourself and how long you've been in real estate for.
Well, I'm a realtor with Royal LePage Vidora. I started in Saskatoon in real estate in 1995, so it's just been over 25 years, and I've been a strictly residential realtor that entire time.
Fantastic. And today we're really lucky to have you on because people are really wondering what's going on with the Saskatoon market. And we're talking about supply and demand and really how it pertains to real estate. So let's quickly get into that. On an overview, what is Saskatoon looking like right now, Kevin?
Well, right now we're seeing a lack of supply in the single family homes, houses, that sort of thing. We've been seeing our inventory drop steadily for the last, I would say, probably about 6 months or so. The pandemic sort of kept people at home last spring, but then when interest rates dropped and the economy reopened, we saw this huge demand for homes. And we're finding now that probably about 1 in 10 homes sells with multiple offers, more than one people offering on the house at a time.
Right. And if we're looking at what the current market is doing, we were talking a little bit off air about what's happening. But what are some of the things that are happening right now in Saskatoon?
Well, right now, we're having trouble increasing our listing inventory. It seems like we're getting as many sales as we have new listings. So there's a bit of a disconnect there between the number of people that are looking to buy and the number of people that are looking to sell. Condos and townhouses are another ball game altogether. We still have a fairly good supply of condos and townhouses, but the single family homes are in pretty high demand.
What does that tell us? If you're living in a single family home in Saskatoon and you're potentially thinking of selling, is this a good time to list or should you wait for the summer? In your opinion, what's the best way to do it?
I would say list your house right now if you're thinking about doing it in the spring. Why wait? If you drive up and down the streets of your neighborhood, in most neighborhoods in Saskatoon, you'll see very few for sale signs. You might see a few sold signs kicking around. So I wouldn't wait. I think what you're going to have is people, maybe thinking inside the box, if you will, about we'll wait till spring when there's more people out and about. But interest rates are super low right now, and we've had some indication that they might be going up. So that could dampen the spirit of the market right now. So I wouldn't wait until spring when more people are going to be putting their homes on the market. I'd go now.
Right. So for the sellers out there, are there things that they can do to ensure that they're getting the best price for their property? And I guess that kind of ties into when are they going to list it? What's your opinion on that, Kevin?
Well, I think if you're talking about getting the home ready for the market, I think definitely sprucing it up still helps you get top dollar for it. And it really fuels that bidding buyer, if you will. And I think showcasing it properly, making sure that you've got good photos and the house shows its best on the internet, which is where most people find the home that they're looking for.
When you're chatting with a client, Kevin, and they're asking you that question, if I redo the floors, if I make these improvements, what's your general advice to someone on renovations that are really going to increase the value and maybe renovations that aren't really going to get that value to rise up?
Well, I always recommend that people spend their money inside the house. Decks and fences and driveways and siding and that sort of thing never really get you as much bang for your buck as your interior upgrades do. Generally speaking, I don't think you need to go over the top. I think mostly cosmetics paint, if you have worn out flooring, those are the kind of the big things that people see when they walk into a home. But generally, major renovations, kitchens, bathrooms, and that sort of thing, I don't recommend, because you may spend $20,000 on a kitchen only to get $20,000 back. It's not really worth it. But paint and flooring are very visual, and that's where you get the best bang for your buck.
And you talked about having good photos. Are there certain things that make a good photo when you're kind of staging a house? I know lighting is important. Are there anything else that really adds?
Yeah, I think you have to use a good quality camera, and I think a wide angle lens helps people see more of the house in every shot.
So your Toshiba from 10 years ago that was a flip phone probably isn't going to do it then.
No, it's not. I know the phone cameras are getting better and better, but I still like to use a DSLR with a flash and open the aperture so you get lots of light coming in.
Okay, great. We've touched on the sellers now. I'm a buyer now, and I'm looking to get that perfect property. Are there things that I can do in this competitive market to make sure that I'm staying relevant with those other bidders on those houses?
My first recommendation is to get a pre-approval from your bank or your mortgage broker. And if you can, get a pre-approval letter. There's nothing wrong with sending in a copy of your pre-approval letter when you send in your offer in a bidding situation. And you never know, that might just be the thing that tips the sellers in your favor. You know, showing them that you've been to the bank, you can afford their house that you're buying. Those are the types of things I think that can give you a little bit of a competitive advantage.
Right, kind of showing the seller that you've done your homework, you have your ducks in a row, and you're ready to pull the trigger on this property.
That's right. Yep. I think, like I said, the sellers are wondering, well, this person says they're pre-approved, but we don't have any proof. If you can send that letter in, it makes a big difference.
For sure. Anything else to add on the Saskatoon market as it sits now, Kevin, as we kind of enter, thankfully, spring and early summer here?
No, I think it's going to continue on as a bit of a seller's market for the time being anyway. Maybe up until June. My experience over the years has been that when school lets out, the market tends to slow down a little bit. So I think we'll have a pretty strong market up until summer really hits. It's going to depend too, I think, on what the interest rates do. But I mean, right now they're as low as we've ever seen. There's lots of ready, willing, and able buyers out there. And if you're thinking of selling, there's no reason not to pull the trigger now.
That's great. So, personal question for you, Kevin. You've been in the real estate game for a little while. If you can go back to when you first started your career, what advice would you give yourself on those first, months and years as being a real estate agent?
Oh, wow, that's a good question. I think you need to really treat real estate from a realtor's perspective as a business. To have a marketing budget, to treat it like you would any other business. I think some people look at it as maybe a part-time thing after, a previous career or something. But I think if I'd gone back in time, I would have treated it more like a business, which I've been doing for, the last 10 or 15 years, but I think I would have done it more right from the beginning.
Excellent stuff. Kevin, if people want to get a hold of you, can you provide some of your contact information here if they're looking to reach out, if they have any more questions about listing or buying?
Sure. My website is kevingoyer.com, my name.com. My cell number is 306-261-SOLD. You can call or text, and I'm easy to find on Facebook, Instagram, and on YouTube. Just search my name.
Thank you very much for sharing the great information today. Really appreciate it, and have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, Ron. It's been a pleasure. Take care.
Thanks again to Kevin Goyer for taking the time to sit down and chat with us this week. Excellent information in there for home buyers. And you heard Kevin, get yourself pre-approved. Whether you're doing that through your bank or through your mortgage agent, it helps smooth out the process so you can enjoy the wonderful journey that is home ownership. If you enjoyed that episode, share it with your friends. And don't forget, hit the like and subscribe button.
This has been the Saskatchewan Real Estate Podcast. If you like this episode, find more information and episodes on our Facebook and YouTube pages. If you'd like to be a guest or have a conversation you'd like to learn more about, let us know by messaging the show on Facebook. Thanks for listening.